Indian. Anyway, well, bumper music to play right here. You ready to go?
Sure.
Go to 12:43. Let's do this, bud puppy. What do you say? Okay. My next guest last week was named the head coach of the Appalachian State Mountaineers men's basketball team. He comes from President Wofford. For Dobyns-Bennett, and he's already made some overtures and some public calls about, that Appalachian State ETSU game. I'd like to restore that as a basketball rivalry. We're talking about Dustin Kerns, who joins me now. And let's start and begin with that. Certainly, I understand that, you're a Tri-Citian. You remember the great Mister teams. You've followed ETSU over the years. I remember, for instance, Appalachian State ETSU the Mister years, actually exceeding NC State during the national ranked season. And I know just what a big deal it was back in the day when, after 5 straight losses, Ed DeChillis finally beat Appalachian State. That seemed to be the monkey that he needed to get off his back, and then he could go and restore the program once that was accomplished. So I want to ask you, hey, hearing from the Appalachian State side, we kind of thought you guys went to the Sun Belt and left Lane and left ETSU in the dust, or you thought you did. Why do you want to restore the rivalry with ETSU?
Well, Marky, first of all, I want to say that it's a pleasure to be on. I'm very members that still live there. Makes it very difficult. Well, when I grew up, I thought Appalachian State and Tennessee State was a great game, great rival. I don't know the exact split, but I think we're within 65, 70 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Forbes has got a great thing going. He's got something going that we aspire to get going, and certainly we've got a lot of work to do. But I've already had discussions with him. Obviously, I don't want to promise anything or make anything public that's not public, but we've already had discussions this week about starting a series. I think this would be great to get that kind of series back going again for our alumni and fan base. I think it makes a lot of sense. They've got a great program and a great name,
mm-hmm.
and certainly that's certainly the type of program we aspire to play. Obviously there's a lot of moving parts to it with dates and things like that, but certainly already in the talks, and hopefully we can work something out.
Well, I know that 5 scholarships and ETSU is a relatively new program with 63. Sometimes I thought maybe that ETSU Appalachian State football game used to be conference rivals. Maybe it now is more kind of like, ETSU Milligan. One school passes the other, but certainly have to be more comparable. You come from the Big South, so you have something of an objective view of this, even though you're in the Appalachian States Conference. Now, what do you think? What about the Sun Belt and the Southern Conference in terms of basketball competition? How do you think they match up from what you've seen as a basketball coach at Presbyterian and now at Appalachian State?
Well, every league's good, and so I think that a lot of times the best league in the country is the one you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Sun Belt and SoCon are very comparable as far as Sun Belt had a great year this year, but I think that certainly that's something I'm still learning. The Sun Belt, I'm very familiar with some of the teams, but obviously our conference stretches all the way out to Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Alabama, and so I'm still learning those things, but very familiar with being in the SoCon, and so I think that there's great teams and coaches in this area. And like I said, at the end of the day, basketball is basketball, and I think that in Division I, when the ball's tipped, everybody's got scholarships, and every game's a fight.
You had a winning season.
Well, this to me, you bloom where you're planted.
Mm-hmm.
This was a call in as we began discussions just academically, athletically, and I also think it's a big-time spot to raise our family. I've got 2 young kids, my wife. This is a true family atmosphere, and I feel like everyone's aligned. And I think when you're in coaching, you as a coach, when you want to explore possibly a new adventure and a new place to go build a program, and you certainly want to have that family atmosphere,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to feel like you can win, and certainly feel that here. We have a lot to sell academically, we have a lot to sell facility-wise, great conference, and so this is a place that our family feels we could be very happy for a long time.
See football game back in 2016, and Brett Musburger said those 3 years ago during the football game. But I do want to ask that there is the reputation for Appalachian State. It's a football school. Hey, it was the football program that was nationally ranked briefly. And, I do think they've probably gotten more attention for, let's say, taking Tennessee or Penn State to overtime in recent years than they probably ever did on the hardwood when, say, Buzz Peterson took them to the NCAAs, or when Bobby Crimmins was there, or whenever, And I just want to say, do you feel that Appalachian State is a football school? What is it like being a basketball coach at a football?
I think it's a positive.
Okay, how so?
Because it proves you can win. And so if we can win in football here, why can't we win in basketball? And so to me, it allows us to get an opportunity to get basketball recruits here on football game days and let them see the experience of the App State family, and let them see the passion and the pride of the fan base, and also see a great product on the field, as Coach Drinkwitz and his staff will put out there. When Billy Donovan went to Florida, people said the same thing, that he won 2 national championships. You could say arguably the same thing in Ohio State. People said the same thing when Bruce Pearl went to Tennessee, and they turned out to be number 1 in the country. Look what Rick Barnes has done there.
Mm-hmm.
And so why not? Why can't we be good in both? I think also other sports here, our women's basketball team just won the WBI championship last year. And so if there's some footprints to win in another sport, then we should be able to do this to build on the success of others. And so I'll be the biggest football fan you'll see. I love college football. I think that it's a positive, and I think that it's an opportunity for us to build on.
Dustin Kerns, new head coach, basketball, Appalachian State. Hey, I wanted to ask you, I've heard variants from Mr. McGee. Could you take or point shooter in the history of Division I college basketball?
Well, first of all, I'm a big team guy, and so I don't think that it was solely me. I think that I might have been the lead recruiter and identified him and begin that process. But I think this is the case in how I work. He came on campus, administration, our players. We sign a great player like Fletcher. It's a team effort with our players, with faculty, with administration, making them see what a great place we have here at App State. And so Fletcher and his family were easy to recruit, great people, high character. And I think that I was just texting with him the other day, and his family and I, still communicate regularly. That's myself with 10 years ago this feel great about Fletcher's. Fletcher's a guy that has had a special career, and guess what? He earned it. He did the work. I'm not going to sit here to act like that he was going to be the. He did that. At App State, we've got a chance to do the same thing. We got to go out. We got a chance to recruit some great players and hopefully they realize this is a great fit for them. And, you know, as you see in college basketball with the John Morants and Damian Lillards and C.J. McCollums and Paul George, I can keep on going and going and going. They found the best fit for them. But footprints to the NBA, it's about guys that find the right fit for them. And so I think Fletcher's got a chance at the second-round pick. He's going to be on the roster. But credit him, not me, for finding the right fit, but then also the relentless for shooting. That's really on the player to develop that. He's getting touch like I've never seen before, and it's going to be spacing. Personally, can shoot just as good as him. I think under the right system, the right roster, he can certainly find a fit, yes.
I want to ask you the big story with the women's Final Four and men's, and it was Notre Dame coach Muffet McGraw saying that, you know what, I would never put staff. Now, you can talk about, let's say in the NBA, Becky Hammon or Nancy Lieberman or something like that. But yes, I mean, the opportunities, the numbers seem to be few and far between. My question is this: would you ever consider hiring a woman to be an assistant? Are you planning on interviewing any women to be on your...
Well, to answer the first question, I'm open to the best, to, you know, certainly, having a female on staff. Rick Pitino had an assistant. You can coach it. You can develop relationships with players. Qualities for me, whether it's male or female. But the second question. I'm open to the best person that fits what we're trying to do, male or female.
Okay, Dustin Kerns, just a couple more that I want to ask you. You mentioned, I'm not... budget is at Appalachian State. I would imagine it is more than what you had at present. National search for talent for the Mountaineers in the future. Admittedly, in North Carolina, there's a lot of talent and all that. But are you going to be looking at more of a national search, or might you be saying realistically, what's your recruiting philosophy? Okay.
So, the recruiting budget will allow you to stop at Presbyterian and at Wofford. We were able to recruit at a high level. I should say high level. We were, Presbyterian, we had 2 of the 5 all freshman team members recruited as freshman of the year. It had nothing to do with our budget. We evaluated and recruited the right people. Like I said, resources are people. And so, in this area, I think, local people that, can have people come up and support them and that are familiar with App State.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you go to any high school in the state of North Carolina, you're going to be able to find a teacher at that school that is an App State grad. And because this has got, certainly a great education, there's a lot of, teachers that come from App State. So there's a lot of connections we can have. But in the same sense of what you're asking, we're not opposed to going to Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan. And so in this area first, but we're not opposed to, going outside the area and certainly attracting talent. But I will assure you this: we'll turn over every rock possible.
You know, you mentioned the 3-hour radius. That would include Dustin Kerns, Appalachian State's new basketball coach, the Tri-Cities. And when you were a young man at Dobyns-Bennett, I seem to recall that era being when both Dobyns-Bennett and Science Hill went to, let's say, the Final Four of states, of the state champion days in the Tri-Cities. Maybe the success isn't quite there. It seems. What's different? Why has there been perhaps a demise over the years in the Tri-Cities?
Well, first of all, I was the kind of player that gets a coach fired. So
well, so was I. That's why we're in our positions now. But yes, go ahead here.
But, certainly, I don't know if I have the exact answer for that. I certainly think that when I was growing up, basketball in East Tennessee State there were a lot of great players, as you said. And then to piggyback on that, East Tennessee State at the time was ranked in the top 50 in the country, including, I think, top 10 at one. Hope high school band, I'm not sure. And so I don't know if I have the exact answer for you as why maybe hasn't been as many D1 players in the Tri-Cities. And I think sometimes things go in cycles. And so maybe there's a returning cycle, and I think certainly in the grassroots areas, things have changed. I think there's been some good players. They just maybe have there to be some great players come out of the Tri-Cities. Certainly that's close enough to recruit. But, I think it's no different the next year. There's cycles in every city and every area.
There you go. Well, he is Dustin Kerns from Kingsport, Dobyns-Bennett, graduate of Clemson, and now the new basketball coach at Appalachian State. And that Appalachian State ETSU rivalry that may have been, it's not the same since they're not in the same conference and hasn't been played in basketball for a while. Well, he's working to try to reestablish it. So we got to go driving 321. Thanks a lot, Tri-City Sports Now. I hope you appreciate the humor there.